All right, we're just a couple minutes early, getting ready for folks to join for. Oh, I see we're joined by Tracy. Hi, Tracy. We're just a couple minutes early here, waiting for a couple folks to join. Really excited you could join us today. We'll do the full introduction right at the top of the hour. Really glad you could join.
Oh.
Hey, thanks for turning on the video. Yeah, I'll go into the whole format when people get here, but we're really excited. We've been doing these personality symposiums, and we do them a little bit different every time, but I guess the common thread is we've been doing a lot of collage work, and so we're excited to introduce a collage exercise that we've been working with. Hi, Lasita. Good to see you, or good to see your profile picture. Santa Fe, a beautiful photo. Yeah. That I know you took because you take such great photos.
Is there any chance you could send the Zoom link to my computer and then I could record the session?
Absolutely.
Or do you want to just send a recording afterwards? Either way.
I can do both of those, but I will go ahead and send it right now to your email.
So nice to see you both. Hi.
Thank you.
Hi.
All right, I'm just sending it right now.
I was asking for the human.design.america@icloud.com.
Okay, HD America at iCloud or Human Design America.
It's actually not HD America.
It's Human Design America at iCloud.com. Got it.
With dots in between.
Okay.
Human.design. Sorry to
No, that's totally fine.
Interrupt the beginning of your class.
Not at all. Well, we haven't quite begun yet anyway, so now people are going to join. Hi there. Okay. Hello. I see Merritt has joined, and Cullen. Hello. So okay, we can get started since it's the top of the hour. I know we have a few more people. Should we send a reminder? I'll send out a couple of reminders really quick, and then we will just get going. Do you want to send any reminders? Okay. Let me just send. Well, it's okay. We can get started. People can always join in at any point that they are able to. Not a problem at all in that department. I see we're joined by Karen as well. Hello. So, yeah, we can just. Yeah. Do you need to send anything or?
No, I don't.
Okay. We can just get started. Oh, I see you, Lucita, with a beautiful background. Great. Well, let's begin. My name is Jonah.
And I'm Lena.
And we have been doing these personality symposiums, both online and in person, for a few months now. I think this is number 9 or 10 or something like that. And we do them a little bit differently each time. We're both avid fans of personality typology, students of psychology, and there's 4 systems that we've been working with pretty in depth, not all at the same time, although it is interesting to see what layer of the psyche each one of these systems addresses. Today, we're going to be presenting one of the 4 systems. So we're going to be presenting the expanded instincts, which is a system created by a guy named Rob Zeke Colopy. And we have his permission to teach the system. We are not affiliated with him. I mean, we're big fans of his, and he has given us his permission to teach it as independent researchers, to basically explore it and kind of put our own take on it. But he hasn't seen what we are saying, so this is very much our interpretation. That being said, we really try to remain true to how he defined the system. And I see we're also joined by Dario Nardi. Hi, Dario. Thank you so much for joining. So just giving a little intro.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those who don't know, Dario Nardi is a respected personality typology researcher and social neuroscience. I don't know, I'm a huge fan of your work, scholar and researcher, and we were just in New York at the Jung Library, and they have one of your books there on the shelf. Yeah, as does Lena. She has actually a few of your books, as do I. So anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not to derail. So I was just giving a little bit of summary intro of what we're doing here. So today we're going to be sharing the expanded instincts, which is a system created by Rob Zeke Colopy, loosely, and I say very loosely, based on Enneagram. It's kind of inspired by the Enneagram, but it really is its own system. And I have a diagram which I'll show in a moment that we can reference. And as far as the format, we're going to do an introductory lecture. We're just going to kind of talk about the system, go through the different types in the system. As we're doing that, take a mental note or a real note if any of them stand out to you that seem like it might be your type in the system, something that you connect with. And then what we'll do is, then Lena will give instructions for making a digital collage. We'll have a short break, and everyone is invited to make a collage. And when we return, we will actually analyze the collage using the system. So it's kind of a fun way to not just intellectually understand personality type, but kind of see it in action through aesthetic choices, thematic choices. And it's something that I've been really impressed by, coming from a typology background that's mostly based around conceptual understandings. And it's kind of like, we can have these two approaches, conceptually understanding the system as well as seeing it play out through aesthetics, which is just pretty cool. So that's kind of the format. There's one thing I want to do as well first, which is talk a little bit about the class that we just wrapped up and just do a brief show and tell of the collages that, that our class members made. I see we're joined by Karen as well. Hey Karen, good to see you. So I'm just going to share this for a minute just because it's kind of cool. We literally just wrapped up last week. Actually, we're in our last collage now, and this will just give you a sense of what the collage exercise is about. One other note, so as far as credit, I do want to give credit to Rob Colopy for creating the expanded instincts the system will be exploring. As I was just saying, for those who just joined, we have his permission to teach and explore the system, but as independent researchers. So it's not like he's watched what we're saying and then given it his stamp of approval. We're totally independent researchers, but he knows about it. We wouldn't be doing this if he didn't give his permission, because it is quite a monumental work he's done in creating this system. And then also credit to David Gray and Emeka Okafor, who are two of the three main members of Enneagrammer Universe, for really developing the collage exercise of using aesthetic analysis of collage to indicate personality type. Like, that's something that they've just really spearheaded and deserve full credit for that. So I just want to give credit where credit is due. So these are just some of the collages that the members of our Introduction to Personality Type class made. And this was for an anonymous collage game led by Lena. And so the way this worked is that every week for 10 weeks, the students would all submit collages anonymously. We would assemble them together, and Lena would actually then put out a voting guessing game. Yeah. And well, what was the inspiration for this? This is just something that you've been doing before, or?
Yeah, it is something that lots of members in the typology community, also mostly for the Enneagram, been also really fascinated about the collage exercise and how you can see different vibes of the different types and see the patterns like reoccurring, like what each types, what kind of aesthetics they are doing. And,
coming from an Enneagram background.
Yeah,
okay.
So then we did lots of different exercises, and this one was in particular inspiring and something I wanted to do more of for this anonymously sending in and guessing who did it, because then you also really study more about each individual's types and what kind of aesthetics that everyone is doing to figure it out.
And the way this would work, I mean, we've actually done this for some of the in-person symposiums we've done as well. I don't think we should do it today necessarily, just because we don't all know each other. But when it's a group of people who know each other or are getting to know each other, like in a class, it's actually a great way to get to know each other, because each week, and these were the prompts that we did. So each week, Lena would give a prompt that she came up with, like divinity. Everyone would do a collage based on that prompt, or cosmos, or adventure, so on, music, time. And so each week they would make a collage, and these are the students who participated, and these are the collages they made. And I'm going to go through these somewhat quickly because I don't want to give anyone too much inspiration, because you're going to be making collages later, and I don't want you to feel like too influenced by any of these. But or intimidated either, because if you've never done a digital collage before, it can feel like this big thing. Lena will give instructions when it comes time to do the collage, and it's nothing to be afraid of. It can literally be, like you can see some of these are just as simple as collecting images and just putting them in a grid. But some are also a lot more detailed. But basically, I kind of was excited to show these just because, first of all, I'm so proud of the class members for doing all this work each week, doing a different one of these. Second, it's just kind of a fun game just to inspire people if they ever want to try. Like, have your friends over, all make collages, and then one person can't play, they have to host, but they receive all the collages, and then everybody else has to guess who made each one, and you can assign points and give prizes, and it's just really fun, like, to be able to see, can you guess who made which collage just based on their aesthetic. It's just a great way to get to know people. It's a great way to get a sense of what's going on. Like, their collage, first of all, it might be really obvious to you. You might go, wow, of course you made this collage. But you can also be extremely surprised. You can be like, oh my God, I'm seeing such a different side of your personality now, knowing you, and then now seeing these collages and what imagery you've chosen is really showing something very different. These are actually my mom's. She was in this group, and she did some really fun collages, and it was cool for me to see the kind of imagery she chose. I mean, I've known her my whole life, and I was surprised. I got to see a different side of her through the collages that she made, which were kind of experimental. I was like, wow, these are pretty interesting. Some of these were very experimental. So, there's no wrong collage. There's no there's no judgment.
Pick images you're drawn to. So preferably not using your own images that you take in yourself, but using images you find online. So gather from online images and then put them together in a collage.
And why is that? Why? I mean, we always say that, but is it just because I guess would it just be? It's just you are drawn to more. You have more range to choose from that way.
Yeah, it's more like making it a uniformed way, so you can recognize the patterns. Because otherwise, how good we are at taking photos and other things, or if you have drawn it yourself, like so many other things that gonna influence. So this is just like what images are you drawn to, that like a way to make it as easy to judge everyone similarly to get a good
kind of to level the playing field then too. Yeah. And also if you're doing the anonymous collage game, then if you see some photos of someone's camera roll, it can reveal who it was. So you want it to be a little more but yeah, I mean, these are just examples of some of the different class members, and you can just see what aesthetics jump out. So the 4 systems we were doing in the class were Attitudinal Psyche, also a system created by Rob Colopy, very much inspired by the work of Carl Jung. And then the Enneagram, the classical Enneagram, as well as kind of Enneagram or universe version of the Enneagram. The Expanded Instincts, which we'll be looking at today, and then the Objective Personality System. And we also had someone in the class who was a student of John Beebe, so we were able to talk a little bit about the Beebean approach to the Jungian cognitive functions. Of those systems, it seems to me like the Expanded Instincts, the one we're going to be doing today, is just the most obvious. It's kind of, I don't know if it's because Rob developed it in concert with his understanding of aesthetic analysis, or if it's just describing a layer of the psyche that is like most closely related to aesthetic choices. But it's actually kind of hard for me to see Enneagram type in some collages. Some collages it can jump out, but the Enneagram type almost feels like ego defense mechanisms. And if you're actually making, like if you're making a collage that's supposed to be intimidating or kind of negativistic in a way, then I see the Enneagram come out. But if you're making a collage that's just like images that you love and are drawn to, I actually see Expanded Instincts in a big way. And so that's something that I'll talk about in a moment when we go into the system. But yeah, I just wanted to show these, first of all, because I'm so proud of all the class members for making them. And then second, you can just see what different aesthetics different people have. Like it's just like, obviously there's something going on with just how different people's collaging is. Like, there was kind of a funny anecdote from when we were doing the in-person symposium. We were doing our first one actually out in New York, and one of the guys who was coming, we had like, I don't know, 10 or 11 people that night. And one of the first guys who came, we were kind of talking about it, and I showed him a few of my collages, and he goes, well, I'm just going to be honest, I don't think this is going to work because, I'm looking at your collages, Jonah, and every one of your collages is a collage that I would make. I just kind of think people just make too similar of collages for this to be valuable. So I'm just going to be honest, Turns out he was the same type as me in the expanded instincts, and his and my collages were the only two that were strikingly similar. And he successfully guessed every person's collage that night. He got every one right. He was the only one to get all 11 or whatever collages right. And he actually got our prize. We brought little bracelets from Sweden to give out as prizes. He got the gold prize, so he was very happy. And like other people might have gotten 4 or 5 right, and he got every collage right. Then he was like, okay, no, I can tell something about people's psyche from the collage. So it is an art more than a science. I mean, it is sort of like you have to kind of squint your eyes a little bit to see like what is it in this collage that is that particular personality characteristic, but I think it's a really, really fun exercise. So let's begin. Let's jump in. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and either put them in chat or go on mic. I'm going to share the graphic that we are using in the chat right now, and then I'll share it on the screen. So just a moment here. This is just a graphic that I made, but it's basically just showing Rob Colopy's design for the system, which you can find out. I'll just put a link to his website as well in the chat, attitudinalpsyche.com, and he has a section on the expanded instinct if you want to find out more, and he teaches classes and all sorts of stuff, so you can always find out more through his work. So yeah, for format, we're just going to go through all 9 of the instincts. There are 9 instincts inspired by, I guess, the 9 Enneagram types. I will give a little preface for those familiar with the Enneagram, or even if you're not, I'll just give a little overview of how this relates and sort of what layer of the psyche the expanded instincts might describe. And then Lena and I are just going to go through each one of these kind of just one at a time. And as we do, just kind of take a mental note if something stands out to you that seems like it might be your instinct, your type. So to begin with, this symbol is called an Enneagram, and the Enneagram symbol is said to be a sacred symbol. I mean, it kind of is. The Enneagram itself as a system of personality typology came out of the work of a guy named Oscar Echazo, and it's kind of a controversial beginning. I mean, it was really first introduced to the public in something like 1968, and it was very closely associated with what was basically a cult. And I don't really say this it's not really controversial for me to say this. You can read about it. At the same time, I don't think that invalidates his work, because a lot of people doing work in sort of fringe areas of psychology and understanding, I mean, they're getting into different mystical systems. I don't hold it against him. I do just say that as a caveat, that I think that there can be a danger, as with almost any belief system, of it being used to control people. And I certainly, having met someone who came from his tradition, feel that is very true with Enneagram. At the same time, Echazo did a pretty incredible thing of really deeply characterizing these 9 fundamental facets of human experience that he used the Enneagram symbol to teach. And there's a lot of interesting ways that it connects, to numerology and astrology and all sorts of things. He actually had 108 different Enneagrams that he came up with. And only 3 or 4 of them are really related to personality typology, like the sins and virtues and things like that. And so anyway, after Echazo, Enneagram ended up going through different traditions, different changes. There's a Christian mystical tradition through the Jesuits that became very popular. If you go on like EnneagramInstitute.com, that's sort of out of the Christian mystical Jesuit tradition. If you go through people like Richard Rohr, he's a Franciscan monk. So there's a lot of connection between traditional Enneagram and spirituality. And then more recently, I guess in the last decade or so, maybe a little more than that, the people behind Enneagrammer Universe, Emeka Okafor, David Gray, Joseph Staltieri, and I guess John Lukovich, they really began to do, there's like sort of this renaissance of Enneagram research to formulate and codify a lot of the folk wisdom of Enneagram into just a more cohesive understanding. And they've done an amazing job of that. And I guess to summarize, I would just say that if I were to look at the current state of Enneagram research right now, it's that the Enneagram seems to be describing something like, and this is also the way Rob describes it, an ego defense mechanism, or something that you have ego around, something where your ego is sort of recognizing certain threats or dangers, and it's almost misrecognizing them as a threat to life. So it's almost like, the way Rob will describe it is that it's the survival against death, or it's running away from death. And that's not the only way to describe Enneagram, and I imagine a number of practitioners deep in Enneagram might disagree with that because they see it in a more totalizing way. But I think it's fair to say that, at least from one perspective, the Enneagram type represents an ego fixation. That's actually a term used by certain Enneagram scholars, like Claudio Naranjo looked at it that way. And it's sort of like an ego defense mechanism. And so a lot of it is very negative. And a lot of when people are talking about their Enneagram type, it's framed in this negativistic way. And I think the way that Rob came around to expanded instincts was asking a really interesting question. Like, if we're running away from death, what are we running towards? What is the life that we're running towards? What is the life force energy that we are going towards, that we're attracted to, that we're drawn to? What is the source of life, the source of libido, the energizing force, the vitalizing force? And so it's kind of funny, when I was explaining all this to our friend Jason Hawley, who himself is a pretty great scholar of the psyche and things like that, he had a really funny comment about it. Lena and I have very different Enneagram types, but we have the same primary expanded instinct, the unknown instinct. And we'll go into what that means, but basically what's the vitalizing force for both of us is the unknown. Mystery, wonder, curiosity, magic, excitement. I mean, all of these things are so vitalizing to us. But our Enneagram types are so different. And so Jason said something really funny. He said, so you and Lena each ran away from your respective hells, but you met in heaven. Because that's another way to look at the Enneagram, is that the Enneagram is actually describing like a personal hell, the ego hell of being attached to a certain thing that is threatening and dangerous and you have to guard against, and all of this stuff about the ego wrapped up in the fight for survival and struggle against death. And when Rob was developing this system, the expanded instincts, he kind of took the same formula, but he just addressed a completely different layer. What is giving us life? What is bringing us vitality? And it's just such a beautiful question. So if you're familiar with the Enneagram, each one of these terms, these instincts that he's identified, has something to do with the Enneagram type that would be there. So if you know about the Enneagram 9, then you're going to see something of that in security. And if you know about Enneagram 8, you're going to see something of that in fortitude, and the 7 with unknown, and so on. And so if you know Enneagram, you're going to kind of see how this system is taking that same structure, but then it's a completely different layer. And so I would just say, if you do happen to know Enneagram, it's both helpful and it can be limiting to try to interpret this system completely through that lens. So just kind of keep an open mind to it. If you don't know Enneagram, don't even worry about it. I just wanted to give some context of how this came about and just sort of answer the question of, why is this using the Enneagram symbol? Do you have any other context we should add, or should we just jump on in?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, for myself, it's been really useful to add this layer of what gives you life, because then when you want to work with all the Enneagram and all the other typology system, and maybe you want to work with your shadow and all the negative stuff that can be really hard to to work with and let go of. But then to use, if you know your expanded instinct and what's giving you life, then you can use that to release the ego defenses, and like you can really use that as a positive force in together with working with the negative.
I'll say that personally, it's been a relief to teach this system because it's so easy to sort of acknowledge that yes, that anything could have negatives, but that we don't need to dwell on the negative in the sense, like, not that it's some overly like positive love and light, sunshine psychology system, but just that people have asked, so what's the shadow of being this type? And I've said, well, I mean, it's more about what really makes you feel alive. So the shadow, you can go into that all you want. I mean, if you're looking at objective personality, you can say the shadow is the opposite of your function that you, or from Jungian typology, the inferior function, or John Beebe, there's a lot of systems that will look at the shadow. Mm-hmm. And with Enneagram, it's almost, that's the main thing it's looking at in some sense, is what we have a lot of ego around, where we get touchy, where we get defensive. That's why I was saying earlier that if you see a collage from someone and it seems almost adversarial or confrontational, it's more easy to see their Enneagram type, because if there's a lot of like one-upmanship and ego defensiveness in it, then that's sort of what comes out. But if they're just really sharing what they're into, like, there's something exciting about just being able to look at that and not have to look at the other stuff. So anyway, let's jump into it, and I think it'll be interesting to hear what all of you think as well as we go through it. Maybe that is a good question that could come back up. Is there a shadow of this system? I guess everything has a shadow, so maybe I just haven't seen it yet. So to begin with, we're going to look in, we're going to go through self-survival. And these are 3 different sections: self-survival, interpersonal, and purpose. And this mirrors in traditional Enneagram how they have the body center, the heart or image center, and the head center. But it's a little bit different in the expanded instincts, and I'll just explain as we go. I think it'll become apparent. So we're going to start with fortitude. And the fortitude instinct, this is about feeling alive through raw sensory experience. No amount of talking or thinking about it or anticipating it or remembering it can give that hit. It has to be lived. It has to be fully experienced, and you just have to get the directness of the life experience itself to feel alive. So this is sort of expanding into the space, taking up space, and truly enjoying claiming ownership. Enjoying the belongings that you own, enjoying using them. It's almost a sin for a fortitude person to own something and not use it, or to have access to something and not use it. It's really like only getting that hit when you're actually directly experiencing it. Would you talk a little about fortitude? Or?
Yeah, so it's yang and externalizing, and it's also bordering to the purpose center. So it has some influence of that, making it into something significant, or making it into having some mystical property into the physical.
Okay, yeah, I'm taking some notes also for those who want to open up the chat. You were saying because it bordering the spiritual in some sense. Mm-hmm. Like it's like the physical bordering the spiritual. There's a lot of really interesting things that we're not going to be able to cover all of them, of course, in the interest of time. But the more time you spend with this system, you start to find really beautiful little details, kind of like what Lena was sharing there, where fortitude is in self-survival, and something about self-survival is sort of like the physical world and earth, and just it's the equivalent of the body center in Enneagram. So it's this whole realm of the physical. But it's next to the purpose center, and so because of that, it's sort of the purposey, like it's like somehow influenced by that, or it's somehow what you find in the symbolism a lot of times is totems, totemizing. I'll add that to the notes as well. like a voodoo doll or something. And it's very different to look at a collage from a fortitude person who doesn't have unknown versus an unknown person who doesn't have fortitude. Because, but by the way, to be clear, you're going to end up having you'll have one of the three in each of these centers. So it's possible to have both fortitude and unknown. And you have them in a stack or in order. So it is possible to have both. But say someone has fortitude and they don't have the unknown instinct. Like, you're going to see this version of the spiritual and the physical mixing, but from the side of the physical. So it's like the physical is the greater container that has the spiritual within it. The physical is containing the spiritual inside of it from the side of fortitude. But then if you see unknown, like Lena and myself, I went through our collages pretty quickly earlier, but what you end up seeing is actually, it's almost like the spiritualized world of like floating elven text and like aurora borealis and magical light and shining, glimmering, sparkly wonderment and amazement. And you don't see any of this totemizing at all. It's as if the physical is this smaller thing inside a much larger spiritualized vessel. Mm-hmm. So it's just really interesting symbolically when you look at a lot of collages and you kind of start to see these themes come out. But yeah, I've been putting the notes in the chat so you can see this is yang, and so it's very directive, forceful, going out there to get the hit. Like, if you think of this hit of vitality, almost getting high on life or high on the vitality and the libido that you're getting access to, for someone who's fortitude, they can only really get that if they go out there and make it happen. And the other one is and be immersed in it.
Right.
So it's external, it's out there in the world outside. It's yang, you have to go out there, go into it, and it's immersive. You have to be fully immersed in it. Mm-hmm. And that is sort of the only way to get that aliveness for people who are fortitude. And I'll just add a couple other notes in the chat. Claiming ownership, filling up space. These are sort of some of the key notes for what fortitude is all about, how it's immersed, owning something and then like fully using what is owned to its maximum. Or it's sort of, I was thinking how a lot of the images of fortitude that I have anyway from people I've typed as fortitude can be not the whole picture. Like, they can look like, I don't know, a wealthy business person who wants to spend all this money enjoying all the luxuries of life or something. And then I was laughing to myself when I was thinking about the TV show Rick and Morty, and how Morty is actually a perfect example of fortitude, because every episode, all he's wanting to do is get access to something he doesn't have access to. Let me use the spaceship, Rick. Let me do this thing. Give me this tool I want, or give me this. It's like wanting to own something, wanting to have something, wanting to use something. Let me use it. Let me go into this place I haven't gone into before. Don't lock me out of the lab. I'm going to go poke around in the lab. It's like, that's fortitude also, because it's just basically, and it is bordering unknown, so there is some element of exploring into the unknown of fortitude, wanting to kind of see every last place that's available to see. And it can be luxurious, but it can also be grimy and go down every alleyway and go to the underground nightclubs, or go to the, just to kind of get the hit of the raw intensity of life. It doesn't want censored life. It wants the fullness. Give me the experience of the fullness of life. So now we move on to security, and security is very, very different. Security is really having, feeling alive through preventing any distractions or any disturbances from disturbing the harmony that can be created through, I guess, a lot of organizing or mundane sort of, it's like, it doesn't need to actually go out and have the experience. It's much happier. Security can get the hit of aliveness through sipping hot chocolate, looking at the snowfall, or like attuning to the seasons is a big thing. There's a lot of connection to the natural order and natural beauty and the seasons and the sort of the harmony of being able to create a space that is not disturbed by the outside, and then being able to sort of dial in exactly what the comfort objects are within that space.
Yeah, so this one is yin instead, and internalizing, so very opposite from fortitude. So, and then also distinguishing. So they like to talk about their personal difference, like this is my favorite kind of chocolate, or this is my favorite stuff, and just dialing in their space perfectly, how they, and fine tuning on that. And
Okay, I have some notes there. Yeah, you can see already just how different that is to not need to go out there and have the experience to feel alive. It's like maybe you've been out there in the chaos. Like we have a friend who is security, and he's a DJ, and he'll be out there DJing in some wild nightclub with hundreds of people, and it's like this total immersion experience, and yang and external and so on. And he's actually a professional there. He's not feeling alive there. He's actually spending energy there, being a professional, doing everything he can to be an absolute professional. Then he comes home, and that is where he actually gets his batteries recharged. He's not recharging his batteries out there in that immersive yang external space. He's recharging his batteries after, where he can go and have this sigh and relax. And we were just visiting him and sitting on the porch and sort of noticing the wind, and there's these animals that live over there, and it's just like the natural beauty, the connection to what's going on in synchronization with the natural order. And so it's stabilizing and creating a stable place, but it's not sterile, because it is moving, it is changeable, it is noticing how different it is, like when it's a long summer night versus cozy with the winter time, or the cherry blossoms falling in the spring. Or so in collage aesthetic, we see a lot of natural beauty relating to security, because it's like the safety and stability and cozy comfort you feel in alignment with nature. And it can really just be like enjoying the garden and enjoying the porch and enjoying your chair. But there is the distinguishing element that you mentioned is a big part of it as well, because with fortitude, it's not distinguishing. It sort of just wants to go to all the places or have all of the things. With security, it's like the right thing, like the right brand of tobacco, or the right kind of coffee, or this is my chair, or this is how I sit. It's just it's very Goldilocks. It's dialing it all in. I have security in my instinct stack. I'm unknown bonding security. But I relate to it, to noticing, even though it's third for me, that is in the self-survival area, in the physical area, that is how I get energy. I don't need to go out and expand into the fullness of life experience. I can get the same hit that someone else can only get at 2 a.m. on the dance floor or something like that, or by being fully immersed in some intensity or the raw experience. I get that through really enjoying like my comfort times, where I've been able to carve out a place where I'm not disturbed, because I actually get it internally. I'm not getting that source of vitality out there. I'm getting it in here when it comes to self-survival. So something in me is actually that source of energy, and I can't get it if I'm too disturbed. So it's like the first thing I do when I travel is nest and make my cocoon and create my comfort area, because that's how I recharge. It's basically being able to really enjoying being free from disturbances so that you can go inward. And I also come to life in the organizing of the space. Like if I'm hosting an event or something, even though that you could say, okay, well, that's an external thing, people are coming over, that's, all the stuff. But what I'm trying to do is I'm actually dialing in really comfy little corners. I'm creating the perfect nook where I'm putting the couches into an L-shaped and making everything, putting the candles and getting the temperature just right and getting the music just right, getting the lighting just right. There's a lot of distinguishing, dialing in, making it perfect. One last little anecdote, and then we'll move on. When we were in New York, I was looking for a good a good cafe to work at, like to work on a laptop. And I went on Reddit for best cafes to work in Williamsburg, and I found a thread that I'm convinced is all security people. I'm convinced there were no fortitude or self-management people anywhere in that thread, because the entire thread would go like this. Oh, check out this cafe. They're pretty great. Next comment. Oh, their chairs are a little bit high there. Next comment, it's a little bit echoey at that place. The next comment, the lights are a little too bright. And so each one of these were people just distinguishing exactly what they like and dislike. So we finally went to one that was the total security place, which for Lena, she is self-management. So I think you probably kind of go to sleep in a security place a little bit. For me, I'm like, this is amazing. There's couches and there's, it's very comforting and very comfortable. It's like this cozy, like Cheers vibe or something. It's like great. But for Lena, I think was probably a little sleepy. But we were there, and I overheard two of the owners of the cafe, and they're totally both security people. Like, you can get pretty good at typing people, and you can just kind of see them and see their aesthetic and hear them talk a little bit. And literally their conversation was about whether they should move one of the couches and how the tables are. And they're like, well, the corner of the table is a little pointy, and it kind of bugs me. It's like this sharp edge pointing. And the other guy's like, should we change that? He's like, no, I like that light fixture. That fixture is staying. And they're just distinguishing all the little nuanced details of little specific things that would make the place as cozy as possible. And that's definitely what security does. Just getting it just all perfect, getting it just right. So that's the other funny thing is I've had people tell me, well, Jonah, my instincts don't fit any of these because my heaven, what makes me feel alive, is something totally different. And I've been like, okay, tell me. And they'll tell me this extremely specific thing with all these details. I'd be like, okay, that's security. That is... if your sense of heaven or vitality doesn't fit any of these descriptions because it's so specific, it's probably security because you have some very specific, distinguished thing that it is for you. So now moving on to self-management. Self-management, and as I mentioned, this is Lena's. This is also Rob Colopy, the inventor of the system. He's Unknown Self-Management Alchemy. And self-management is feeling alive through tracking one's own vitality. So it kind of makes sense that Rob created this system and is self-management, because even talking about the source of aliveness, it's not distinguishing, so it's not talky, but I guess tracking and observing what makes you feel alive itself, it can be this form of aliveness. Noticing when you have more energy, when you have less energy, kind of doing what security does to dial in a space, but doing that instead with your habits, routines, exercise, health. There's a real attunement to physical beauty with self-management. It's kind of this idealized beauty or perfect beauty, the perfection of form. Yeah.
It's also next to the interpersonal center, so you kind of also get that comparison with other people, and it's also a lot about beauty, and it can get to extreme sometimes with beauty maxing and stuff, but also just strength, just wanting to be or remembering when you were at your best, and also see things grow, like getting stronger or things build, and also getting kind of perfectionistic, and but in a positive way, not in the Enneagram 1 negative way where it's a problem.
Yeah, if you come from a background in Enneagram, you'll see that this is the same position as the 1, and so each of these is sort of informed by that. Security is the same position as 9, which is about harmony. Well, self-management is kind of like that discipline and rigor. But yeah, it's really a lot of the perfection of the potential of the human body to be fully its own source of vitality. So it's almost like for the fortitude people, it's out there and it's claiming ownership and possession and going fully into things. For security people, it's inside, but you still have to deal with the outside, keep the outside from disturbing you. And then with the self-management, it is sort of this radical self-reliance on the self for vitality and really getting energized, like tracking your own vitality. So someone like Brian Johnson would be a pretty, I think that's a guy's name, he'd be a pretty obvious example of it. Like he's just super into tracking the metrics. At the same time, we have a friend Sean who is self-management first, and he said he can't stand tracking metrics. But in a way, he almost is like, he can't stand it, and yet, first of all, knowing him, I know that he does. Second, he's still tracking it. He's not tracking the numbers. He's not quantifying it, but he's still always telling me the different nutritional supplement he took, or after he cut out caffeine or cut out alcohol, this is how he felt differently. And he's becoming like really animated, noticing the improvements and the changes in his life. And then also even enjoying tracking when he used to be healthier and then trying to get back to that point. Or so it's like, it's going both ways. It's like I am getting healthier and more capable and vital, but also, wow, I used to be so vital and I lost it. I'm going to get that back. So there's a memorializing quality to it. There's looking back on the peak, the pinnacle. And it's very idealizing.
Yeah, striving towards the ideal. Both in aesthetics in general, but also like your own ideal.
Yeah. Oh, I just paused the screen share for a second. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I think it might be. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to paste a link. There's a guy, Bob Fosse. I don't know if people know Bob Fosse much, but he is. Let me just mute this. Here, let me just. Yeah, I'll just share this for just a second here. Like a picture's worth 1,000 words. This is Bob Fosse's choreography, and being a self-management person, there's so much like line and shape and physicality of like silhouette and posture, and you just see in a lot of I mean, he also probably had alchemy, and the person dancing in the middle feels very alchemy, but like these sort of extreme shapes,
like mannequins.
Right. They're like mannequins walking around, like robots, and like you see like I don't know, like certain symbolism of like there's all these great nicknames Rob has come up with for the different types, and one is Tesla Sexbot, and like that has self-management in it. Is that which one is that? Self-management, alchemy,
and self-significance.
And self-significance, yeah, exactly. So that's some like Tesla Sexbot symbolism of like the alchemy, which can be. We'll get to that in a moment, but with the self-management having this almost robotic, mannequin-esque, idealized, perfected form thing going on, and aesthetically, you'll see like sleek, exotic animals, and you'll see Greek statues and columns and like statues with chiseled abs and like perfect features and all of this stuff. So yeah, you can almost see the different self-survival as forms of beauty in a way. Like I won't go too far into that, but like fortitude is like often loving decay and things that are gross or intense, or like seeing the beauty in like what other people would consider ugly. Security has such a connection to natural beauty and to the seasons and things like that. And then self-management is like this perfected, idealized form, but I don't
but
go
also
too far
fortitude also have a lot of like bold colors, so it's also a lot of like color story, and it can be really pretty too. So some people are really into grimy and gross stuff in fortitude, and some are really not into that, but instead maybe using really bold colors and taking up space in that loud kind of way.
I never actually thought of the big colors as like, but it makes sense. Like I've seen fortitude people like get kicked out of places for being too loud and stuff, because it's just enjoying being a lot and sort of like, well, I paid for it, I can use it, so I own it. But okay, moving on to alchemy. So alchemy is now in the interpersonal, and so this has to do with other people, and I think for each of the ones in interpersonal, you can look at it in romantic one-on-one relationships, and you can also look at it in friendships, non-romantic, just platonic, or even family or business relationships, or just with other people, interpersonal. But with alchemy, to look at it from the perspective of romance, this is enjoying the chemistry, the pheromones, the electric spark you feel with another person that I think all of us can relate to. It's just for the alchemy person, that is their source of life. So if that's not there, they're having a very hard time getting that from their partner, getting the source of life, I mean. Like they have to keep that spark in order to get it, would you say?
Yeah, because it's bordering back towards self-survival, so it's like literally about the like the physical chemistry with other people. And it's also immersive, but instead, like fortitude is yang and immersive, alchemy is immersive and yin. So it's enjoying that how other people makes them feel, like the alchemy you have with someone else, like what chemistry do you have, and they enjoy talking and having this back and forth with other people, and this what's being alchemized in between there
And exchanged,
yeah,
the
but
exchanging.
they have to be immersed in it. So if the other person is not there anymore, then it's like pulling the plug. You can't get the hit if the person isn't there.
It seems to me, we're both bonding, so, and we'll get to bonding in a minute, but it seems to me that alchemy sort of just needs to keep the fire going, like you're saying, and when the plug is pulled, they're no longer able to gain the same source of vitality or energy. Like they're not getting it just by thinking about it. Whereas when we'll get to bonding in a moment, as a bonding person, I have a way of kind of sublimating or extracting purpose and meaning, I guess maybe because it's bordering the purpose center, from a relationship, so that even if the relationship sours, or even, it doesn't have to even be a romantic relationship, maybe I have a close friendship with someone and then we just drift apart, or anything, but when that interpersonal changes, as a bonding person, it's kind of easier for me to extract purpose and meaning from that, and then hold on to and cherish it as a memory, and as a memorialized, sort of internalized experience. And so we'll get to bonding in a moment, but it is memorializing, it is internalizing. You'll see we're using these different categories here. As Lena mentioned, alchemy is also immersive, like fortitude. It's yin rather than yang, and it's immersive. And you'll see when we get to community, it's also distinguishing, like security and self-management and bonding are both memorializing and looking at the past. So that's another frame or lens to look at this, is like, where is the source of life? Where is the source of energy from? For alchemy, the source of energy is in the immersion itself. Now, one thing I want to point out is when I've sort of described these before, there have actually been a couple people at least, who were alchemy, who didn't really resonate much with the description of the pheromones and the chemistry and the excitement. And I think it's because that may be true at the level of romantic involvement, but what they actually both connected a lot more to was non-romantic, just friends, and actually just feeling fully alive, being in the mix, in an exchange. Like at a dinner party where different people who don't know each other are all sort of exchanging their views, and really lively conversation is happening, and they just get to kind of take it in because it's yin. So part of alchemy is not wanting to have to direct or go out there and say, now I want to hear what you have to say about this, and you talk about that, and what do you think about this? It's not pushing, it's not yang, it's not directing anything. It's wanting to be in a place where they can be immersed in the alchemizing exchange happening. So being in the mix and getting this exchange and kind of getting to just soak it in. Mm-hmm. And they related a lot more to that than to a particular, spicy, exciting kind of pheromone thing. I do think that's probably part of it, but I think it's going to show up differently whether it's romantic or whether it's platonic, and it's just sort of a different side of it. But the main points, as you were saying, it's yin, it's immersive, it's just it's exchanging, it's wanting to exchange. I've noticed alchemy people who have been at events, because I've thrown a number of events, and like our friend River, watching how he will go from group to group to group, and he'll sort of stay in a group until an exchange has happened. So he'll come over and just kind of hang out, and it's yin. He's not directing anything. He's getting people to open up. He might ask a couple questions, but in a very non-directive way, a very receptive, getting people to lower their guard, getting them to open up, giving a good vibe so that they sort of feel comfortable. And then an exchange will happen, and then he'll just go on to the next group. And an exchange will happen, and he'll go on to the next group. And he'll even say, well, that was really interesting. I've got to go talk to this person over here or something. And he'll just move on to the next group. And so it's not like us. We're bonding. Like, I see my old friend. I'm like, I want to hang out with you. We'll get to bonding in a moment, but it can actually be kind of cold to somebody that they haven't bonded with. So, like, bonding can be surprisingly cold. People hear bonding and they go, oh, that's lovey-dovey. That's so warm. No, no, no. The warm lovey-dovey are the community folks. They're the ones that are the really warm ones. Bonding is much more, like, selective.
Yeah.
So, yeah, looking at alchemy, yin, immersive. Now we go to community. Community is the distinguishing of the interpersonal. And so community has a lot to do with understanding roles and understanding my role and your role in a romantic relationship, understanding the different needs of the self and the partner, the different backgrounds, where I come from, where you come from, talking about the relationship a lot, talking about relationships a lot, enjoying other people talking about relationships, watching TV shows where people talk about relationships. Like, there's a lot of communication and distinguishing and getting down to nitty-gritty details about relationships that community just seems to really enjoy. The higher it is in your stack, like if it's first, it could even be really enjoying creating committees and groups and subcommittees and leads and sub-lead or assistants, or, you know, defining all the roles of all the different people in the community, making sure that you've handled all the needs of the people in the community. Mm-hmm. I've thrown a large event for the last 5 years. I stepped down this past year, but we've had around 150 people each year the last couple of years, the High Desert Human Design event. And the new director is Community First. And she created like 7 different committees, and she's sent out these emails, and I'm really impressed because I never thought about this. I'm a bonding person, so I was just like, I want to see my friends, you know, and people would say that the event's kind of cliquey, and I'm like, deal with it. Don't come then. Like, sorry, I'm a bonding person. Like, I want to see the people that I connect with. But she is community, so she said, like, in the 6th year now, the event's been going on for 5 years, she's defined all of these roles of different committees to understand, like, the special needs of different people. Like I've always said, hey, if anyone has any disabilities that they need for special accommodations or special needs, we'll do our best. But I never, like, made a committee about that. And she's like, oh, we're going to be helping people who are visually impaired and hearing impaired, and we're considering, like, I've always made it 18 and up. She's like, we're considering for, like, teenagers and like young adults, and then we're considering how to handle for elderly people that might have other needs. And she's just, like, gone to this whole next level of community. And it's really impressive. And what I notice is that she really feels alive doing it. I mean, for me, I don't really feel alive being in a committee. I always would make fun of designed by committee, but that's because I'm not a community person. Now, I'll also say not every community person I've met is like that gung-ho about community, particularly if it's second or third. Sometimes they just have a sense of just wanting to be a part of a team or part of a group, or understand their role and contribute to something bigger than them, and know that they're playing an integral, even if it's a small part, in something bigger. So there's a lot of ways community can look. We even had one guy who's community who said for him it was that he was really able to distinguish and differentiate all the different communities out there, and even if he saw that that wasn't for him, that people appreciated it. Like, there was a poet who had created a certain community, and this guy had gone to visit the community and said, look, I don't want to live here, this isn't my community, but I see what you're doing. And he was able to kind of talk about all the different things that person was doing, and the guy was like, you're the first person to really see what our project is. So part of it is even just having fluency in understanding different subcultures and subgenres. My good friend Mike is community, and I will describe like a subgenre as like DIY queer punk or something, and he'll be like, no, Jonah, that's not what it is. It's actually, and he'll tell me all the, or like there's like 3 different subcultures that I've just conflated, because I'm not distinguishing groups of people in that way. I'm just kind of seeing it as like one thing, when a community person is really enjoying seeing all the distinctions and talking about all the distinctions of the different groups. Any comments on community?
Yeah, no, I feel like you covered it.
Well, I think you have these some notes here.
More.
What do we have in notes? Community, yeah, it's
aligning and externalizing.
It's so aligning to the right community for you, and aligning between not being too directive or not being too. It's like neither yin nor yang, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, a bit of both.
It's like a little bit of both, like able to direct, but also able. That's why maybe community is so good at like leadership positions of the community, because they're listening. They're not just yang directing what it should be. They're listening to the community. But they're not fully yin either. So my criticism of designed by committee probably it doesn't hold either, because they do have a vision and they do have a sort of direction for it to go. So yeah, it's aligning. I'll take a few notes on community. It's very warm. What else would you say about it? Distinguishing, seeing all the different groups and so on. Being able to describe them. Okay, so we are both bonding. And bonding is yang, which is interesting. It is kind of directing and going after the person you're bonded with.
Internalizing.
So then taking some experience and taking it inside and as an idealized object.
Yeah, you get the hit internal. So just and memorializing. So you can just remember like those best times, or when you remember like what was it that you bonded over this thing with that person. And it's also next to the purpose center, so you kind of make it more special, like you raise the bond of the two of you to something higher.
Raise the bond to something higher. That's a great way to describe it. Yeah, the way I've seen bonding is it's feeling alive through deep understanding, and it's kind of like actually, I remember you did in your neuroscience of personality book, Dario, you had this great speed dating thing where you noticed the brains turning off at different times, or like what you could kind of see when somebody was really alive, and then like somebody mentions, oh, I have these like fundamentalist beliefs that are really, really opposed to this other person's beliefs, and suddenly there's like a radical shift. I remember that anecdote. I mean, you can comment if you want, or I can just mention it and continue on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, all good. It's the brain shows a sort of learning and excitement mode, which includes things like physical attraction, not just, learning something new because you're passionate about it. But if we're attracted to somebody, we probably want to learn something about them. So that's a very like active integrative role.
Yeah, well, and the way I thought about it was, and I'm sure that's true for all of us, regardless of which of these types we have, but with bonding, it's kind of like that's happening at the level of understanding where, because I'm a bonding person, I've noticed when I meet someone, I'm sort of, if I'm really trying to get to know them and I'm in that state of like, yeah, I'm interested in them and I'm trying to find out what they're about, I'm trying to find somewhere to reach a level of understanding, and I'm sort of seeing how far I can go with it. And then if something happens where I feel just really misunderstood or no understanding is possible, then I just sort of shut down, and it's hard to get it back. It's like the vitality is gone. And I'm sure that's true for everyone. I'm sure for the alchemy person, it's like the chemistry is gone, or for the community person, they sort of, well, I don't know, they seem to stay very warm. They actually maybe can power through that. But as a bonding person, like there is this, I want to bond. And so if I'm meeting a bunch of people, well, the first things I'll do is I'll sort of go off to like meet one person or a smaller group. It's hard to bond with everyone at once. It's like, yeah, we could kind of all bond. Like, you can, like, I don't know, we did some whitewater rafting, and like once you've been through whitewater rafting with strangers, you feel bonded. You're trauma bonded with them. I mean, you've been in this scary situation of almost falling in the water, and you survived and made it. So, I mean, you can bond with a group, but usually there's this one-on-one component of bonding where it's a little bit like you just get to see if you really understand each other, and then if you do, it's sort of you've increased the bond that amount, and then but then you don't lose it. It's not like alchemy where the plug is pulled. You keep it, and that's what's really cool, is that then I might not see that person for a year, but I might see them again later, and it's like the bond is just there again. I'm sure alchemy people have their version of it, of like the chemistry's back, but for me it's almost like I have an internalized connection that I've memorialized to people, where I'll be thinking of them and I'll see something they would like and send them a picture of it. Or there's just something about bonding where it's just like selected the person to internalize and almost have their picture on the wall or something. And so for the two of us being bonding, like, it doesn't make it any easier when we have to be apart. It's still hard, but in a way we're not losing the source of our vitality. We're not losing the fuel. Whereas I've heard from alchemy people this description of like, it's hard to even keep anything going when they're apart from somebody, because there's just like, there's this moment of like separation where they've lost it all. Like, we have lost our physical proximity when we're away from each other, but we haven't lost this internalized memory of each other. Like, we still can kind of think about that. So it's just kind of interesting. Yeah, it's like there is a real difference in the interpersonal there.
Yeah, and with the memorializing, it can also be, I guess, with the yang element, that it can be dramatic and operatic. So you can see that also in the collages, if it's more dramatic versions.
Yeah, you definitely see like Phantom of the Opera stuff and bonding, and I think it's silly, like, for people like Rob, the creator of the system, who is alchemy. I think he kind of rolls his eyes at the bonding people a little bit, because we're so over the top, life or death, dramatic, intense, and so on. But yeah, that can be how it is. So we just have 3 more to get through, and then we will do a break, and then everyone will be welcome to do collages at that point, and also stretch your legs and relax. And if anyone has any questions as well, we can always get into that. But we're just going to kind of go through the last 3. They get a little easier to explain as we go, because we're using the same concepts that we've been introducing. So self-significance is immersive. And what is it to be immersed in purpose? What is the immersion of purpose? It's an interesting question. Like, immersed in the physical world, fortitude, sure. Immersed in the interpersonal and the chemistry and the mix, alchemy, sure. But immersed in purpose? It's interesting. One of the ways this looks is sort of coming to life through realizing the impact you've made, however small, that nevertheless has had a big effect. So I've seen self-significance people really come to life and get so excited about some little lever that they pulled that somehow caused a big change in someone else, or a little thing that they did that was like, be the change you want to see in the world. And because they just made one little decision and did something a little bit different, everything's different now. So, quick example of that, one self-significance person I know was talking about joining a new job where everyone was bad-mouthing the owner of the company. This person refused to do that, and slowly, over about a month, had this huge effect of changing the morale of the company through subtly raising the bar every time by just refusing to engage in that kind of backbiting. Now, at the same time, this was the description that they gave me. One of the types that has self-significance is nicknamed center of the universe, because sometimes it can sound like thinking you've done more than you really have. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it's not about ego. It's not that this person, it was just funny to say self-significance. It almost sounds exactly about ego, but it's almost like this is the source of vitality and energy over something that would normally be considered egotistical. But if you actually talk to them, they're not actually egotistical about it. They're actually very humble about it. And they kind of experience it as something that just happened. And they're kind of just as surprised. They're just surprised about it. They're like, I didn't even know that this would work, but somehow I did this thing. One other quick example, a self-significance guy I knew was listening to a podcast with a creator of a new mushroom supplement, mycelial substrate, like lion's mane, but something else, And then he happened to be going to a conference for naturopathic health. This is the self-management guy, by the way. So very into the self-management of like maxing all of his health stack and all this stuff. And the person who started the new company happened to be at the conference. So big synchronicity, big coincidence. So he met him, talked to him. Turns out my friend had a friend who was an investor. He connected them. The guy invested like $500,000 in this guy's company and really helped it take off. Now, my friend who's self-significance didn't get any money from it. Again, there's no ego thing there. It's not in his self-interest. It's not anything about that. He was just beaming that he was able to connect this new entrepreneur in a health field to a friend who is an investor. and that they were able to work together to make this investment work, to launch this company, like that was just such an exciting thing to him. It was just feeling fully alive through seeing the effect that he had made in other people's lives. So I think that's the immersion, and it's kind of interesting to me to see how like being immersed in the effect you have on the world can be so powerful.
Yeah.
I guess also personal story. Do you have some comments on self-significance?
Yeah, and also internalizing. So just you don't really need anyone else. You can just be in yourself and like, thinking or not. But yeah,
I mean,
when
it's
you happen in, because it's immersive. So when you are in this situation where you are that domino.
I mean, it does seem on the one hand that they are having impact on other people's lives, maybe because of the connection to interpersonal.
Yeah,
but they
next to them,
also though, I've seen self-significance people really come to life feeling this sense of their own life story or life trajectory and their own heritage, and even like getting really into their ancestry and getting really into their cultural heritage and kind of where they came from, their life story, and what life experiences they had. Like that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah, what makes you special?
What makes you special or different from anyone else in that situation? What makes you unique? It's like they're getting into their uniqueness. Because some self-significance people, I mean, I usually, if I talk to them enough, I will hear stuff around like the synchronicities or the coincidences that have led that they grabbed an opportunity to make a difference in the world that most people could be making a difference, but they just don't see it. So there is like a bit of a narrative of like, you can be the butterfly flapping its wings and make the change in the world or something. But it's also sometimes bringing up and talking about their country of origin, their family of origin, their family's heritage, like a lot around their ancestry, their life story, what happened to them growing up. That's like a source of energy for them, like really going out of their way to sort of point out what that is, and almost being annoyed if somebody doesn't see that or doesn't get that or doesn't see something about them that is actually like, I don't want to say too annoyed, because again that would bring it back into ego territory, but it's almost like wanting to fully experience the aliveness of just being them in their life story, like really enjoying who they are that nobody else can be, kind of. So very, very different from existentialism, which is basically taking yourself out of it completely. Here, I'll write a couple notes on self-significance. Would you talk a little bit about existentialism?
So then it's more you look at, take the bigger picture, and so you see all the different purpose that all people have, and like enjoying talking about, like a philosopher, so like talking about the different purposes that there is, and dividing and distinguish all the different purpose that exist, and how people are connected and grouped together in different ones, and just talking about it from a higher level, and not your own purpose, but just about purpose in general.
Yeah, it really is enjoying like looking at the answers or trying to ask these huge questions, very philosophical questions, like kind of just understanding like the mechanics behind how everything works, how it functions, how does belief work, it's just like there in a way it is like looking at the particulars. It's like if self-significance is looking at the singular, like my singular life story, existentialism is looking at the particulars and looking at what do these people have in common with those people. It's very similar to community in that way. What are these purposes, and what are those purposes, and how do they frame reality? It's like seeing everything from this God's eye view from above, and really enjoying seeing the details of all of the different parts of existence and all of the different nuances and like little tiny distinguished details about different corners of existence. we had a existential first guy give a talk at the conference last year, Jeff, and I know you were actually there, Merritt. It was the workshop by Jeff Holman on belief. And as an existential person, he had defined these different roles. I think he had AI help him, but he was saying the role of the teacher or the philosopher or the scientist, or it's almost like different hats you could put on and different figures. And then he had different people in the audience play act these different roles, and he gave them sample statements that they could make, but then they were also encouraged to improvise their own statements from the perspective of these different roles. He was also alchemy, so it was interesting. He wanted to see the mix of what happens when you get a bunch of people together mixing, but also the existential roles. And it was all about belief and about cognitive biases, and it was called What Are Our Beliefs? That was what the workshop was called. And people would ask him a number of times, well, Jeff, what is your belief about this? And he would say, oh, that's not what this is about. I want to hear about what your, he wouldn't bring in his own life story or who he was as a person or anything. He just kept directing it back to this neutral place. So existentialism is yang. It directs things back to neutrality, weirdly, back to a kind of neutralized place, I would say.
And exchanging.
And it is exchanging, yeah. So it's kind of, so he's both alchemy and existential, exchanging.
Yeah, double exchanging.
Yeah, and then finally we come to unknown, and that is both Lena and my own first instinct, as well as Rob Colopy, the creator of this system. And unknown gets the hit of aliveness through really the wonder and amazement of discovery and of finding something new and sort of like engaging with the divine mystery, the universal mystery. It's wanting to know what's behind the door, what's over the hill. I mean, because it's bordering self-survival, there can be a certain physical component as well, like wanting to fill in the map by going to different places and wanting to experience and see different places. But it's not fortitude. It's, in a way, it's memorializing the peak experience of discovery of the unknown, whether that is the magic of being in a place that evokes the sense of unknown, like a vast city at night, or like Burning Man, where anything could happen and you're kind of going out in the night feeling, and there's just this vastness and the sense of discovery, of getting to see what's out there and being surprised by what's happening. Like you get a hit of the unknown when some like magical thing happens that you never could have predicted or expected, and it totally surprises you. And that can be the physical version of it. There can also be literally just theory crafting and thinking and talking and discussing and working things out and coming up with a breakthrough. I mean, a scientific breakthrough, a philosophical breakthrough, a typological breakthrough. Any of these things can get the unknown hit as well. It's not that the existential people don't enjoy that. It's that the unknown, because it's memorializing, is all about the peak experience, the peak. So it's the peak of staying up all night in a frenzy because you're right on the edge of figuring it out and solving it, and you get the answer, and you almost don't want to get the answer because then it's over and you lose the hit. But then at least you memorialize it and you think back to that peak experience and you hold on to it. Whereas existential has an affect of being a lot more dispassionate, even if they're really passionate about it, because it is a source of life for them, but they come across this neutralizing, austere, scholarly sort of, it's very different. It's not like the excitement of the sense of wonderment and amazement that you get with unknown. So I would just say for unknown, it can have a physical component, but it like discovery. For me, I went to Burning Man fully expecting it to be really boring because I was just jaded and cynical, and it was so amazing, and I've now gone back, and it was just as amazing, and I'll stop going back when it stops being a source of unknown. Like when I start to feel it, but I was really shocked, and I didn't want it to be so fun, but the sense of going out into the vastness of just like being in a city where anything could happen was just like filled me up with such a feeling of aliveness. That is the unknown hit. It's like being in the vastness of anything could happen.
Yeah, because it's yin, so you want to be
It's
surprised.
yin,
Yeah. So similar also with fortitude, that is externalizing. So the hit is out there, you have to go out to get it. But yin instead, so it's like it's coming over you. But then you can also memorialize it later. It's not just like in the moment, but like you're thinking back of, wow, remember that time, it was so amazing, and just all of these things that happened.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I start to get like the hair in the back of my neck stand up of like the spidey sense of there could be some unknown here. And then as you go on and explore, like you can either kind of be deflated of like, okay, nothing happened, or totally surprised something happened. Like we were walking around LA at night kind of on the hunt for unknown, and it's like, what do we do? Well, let's go to Echo Park and let's just walk around. And sure enough, we were satisfied. A bunch of motorcycles, like a motorcycle gang, came by with their lights off, doing like wheelies and being all crazy, and like that was a total hit of unknown. We could not have. It wasn't like they were like show up at midnight for the motorcycle show. It was like, no, we just happened to be walking around at midnight and the motorcycle show happened. So that sort of magic of like the synchronicity of things happening and then memorializing and thinking back, how incredible was that we caught that magic wonder. Or like last week we were just walking out on the ice, and now there's all these news stories in Stockholm like, do not walk on the ice. Like, so but at that time we didn't know. It's just like we're walking around and everyone's out on the ice, and nothing bad happened, so we were fine. But that was a very magical unknown thing of like not expecting it, and then having this like being able to go somewhere we didn't think we were normally going to be able to go, and sort of like see behind the curtain of what is it like to stand out in the ocean or something. Like, it was kind of cool. So yeah, there can be a lot of physical stuff with unknown, I guess, because it's bordering of self-survival. Like, definitely aesthetically, when you look at my collages or your collages or other unknown people, you often will see cityscapes or starry nights or vastness, night feeling, mystery feeling, sort of sense of wonderment. Those are all things.
Or just weird stuff.
Yeah, like what is that? That can happen too. Inscrutable, something inscrutable about it, opaque, something that's like hard to know what's actually going on there. But yeah, that's some of the things you see with unknown. So, okay, what we're going to do now, if anyone has any comments, questions, go right ahead. Otherwise, Lena is going to describe the collage, and I'm sure everyone, so we'll do comments, questions first, and then we'll get into the collage. I'm sure everyone needs a break. Lisita.
Hi. So I was noticing certain words getting repeated. So the first of each triad was immersive, is that right?
Yeah.
The third was memorializing. I wasn't catching all the patterns.
Yeah, and I've been putting them in the chat as well. The second, I will, the
But
second is
I didn't
distinguishing.
see the pattern with yin and yang, for example. And
Can we share this?
Yeah, well, no, I'll just...
There was a consistent pattern with those three.
Yeah, let me just say, I'm just going to post them in the chat right now. Yin is... Well, I'll just post them. It'll be easier to see it written out than just to say them all. So, okay, 1 second. I'm just writing them out.
And so you can be really different with the expanded instincts than with the Enneagram?
Yeah, we have, absolutely you can. Like, it can be a completely different, which is so interesting how we're both unknown first, expanded instinct. We have different expanded instincts as well. She's self-management and I'm security, and they're in a different order and so on. But we're both unknown first, and yet we're like so different. Our OPS types are polar opposite. Our Enneagram types have basically nothing in common. Like, we just have a very, very, very different in the other systems. But okay. And then self-management, community, and self-significance. Okay, so I just posted in the chat which ones are yin, yang, and aligning, which is neither yin nor yang, but can sort of do double duty there. And, I think if you have some sense of which one you might be, that's great to have now. And then what'll be interesting is when we do look at the collages, and I think people need a break as well. So we'll just kind of maybe do half an hour break, but first we'll explain the collage exercise. And then when we return, we will analyze the collages and can say what instinct we're seeing or what instincts we're seeing, and you can see if that fits as kind of a cross-reference. And, whether it does or doesn't, it's not a problem. It's also, this is an art, not a science. Like, this is just food for thought more than anything, but it can be interesting if you've like already penciled in 3 and then we happen to see those 3. that might be interesting feedback. That might point to that. And of course, as you do more collages or as you learn more about the system, you can cross-reference that.
And also just we can experience all of these different instincts, so they're all sources of vitality and fun to explore and everything, and give aliveness. It's just that one in each center, it's one that you will come back to. You're naturally drawn to one, to do one of them more than the other two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've all been in that alchemy experience of the mix and exciting, and how exciting that is, or even the community. I know I was kind of saying earlier that it's not that appealing to me, but it is, being a part of a community, belonging, being a part of something bigger than you, being on a team, all that stuff. We just happen to be bonding, so that's the one that is our primary source of energy. And that's something that was very clear to me when I was actually kind of jealous of alchemy people when I learned about it, because I was like able to recognize people, and I was able to look at people I knew who were really, really coming to life and fully enjoying life through that spark. And I was realizing, for me, I actually feel sustained through this internalized, idealized, remote kind of thing that is very personal and private, and it is sort of cold, and it is sort of distant, and that's just a part of who I am. And it was actually nice to learn that about myself, because I realized that it's not that I'm not a warm person, I'm just selectively warm with the people I've bonded with that I feel I have a deep connection to. And if we haven't bonded, I mean, some people feel snubbed or ignored. So there's nothing I can really do about that, because it's not an ego thing. It's just, I can't fake what makes me feel alive. It's like I could try to pretend that I feel alive through something else, but at the end of the day, I'm going to have my source of vitality. So, well, let's, maybe you could tell people about the collages and how to do it, and then we can take a little break.
Yeah, so just Google or go on Pinterest or anywhere you want to grab images online, whichever you are drawn to, and just collect them. And then if you know a way, like on Pinterest, you can make collages or anywhere you want, but you can also just collect them in your camera roll and take a screenshot. Like collect 9 or 12 and then just screenshot that as a collage. And also, if you want, you can collect them in an album on the phone to rearrange them. You can also just take a text document and put the images in that.
Okay, so I just wrote that into the chat, so if anybody needs to look at the instructions, collect images online, any images you are drawn to. You can use Google Images, Pinterest, or any source.
Yeah.
I would say, but please do not use images you have created,
Right.
or your own photographs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the end of the world if you do, but I think it's better for us in analyzing them, and I think you'll get a different result if you search for images rather than just use images off your camera roll. Obviously, if they're from your camera roll, it's something you're interested in, so it kind of works, but I think this just expands the net more.
Yeah, it's easier for me at least to track the patterns. I know you're good at tracking patterns, so you can kind of see it anywhere anyway, but for me it's easier to see it when it's in the same kind of formula that we are using, that I've seen so many other collages, so it's easier to recognize what I'm seeing in them. And also I usually use Be Funky to make my collages, and you can also use like Canva. There are lots of different ones you can use, but also mostly we just want to see what kind of images you are drawn to. That will be more than enough. You don't need to do any artistic collages and so, but that could also have a hint on how you arrange it, but mostly just which images you're drawn to.
Right, and so the easiest way, like for someone who's never done one of these before, I think this is how we've started, is kind of, you were saying literally on your phone, on a computer or phone, but on your phone you can just download 9 images and then they will save to your camera roll in a 9 grid, or download 12 and it'll be 4 high and 3 wide. But either way, you can then just take a screenshot of that,
Mm.
and that can be your collage.
Yeah.
So just a grid of images. And you're saying if you want to put them in an album, you can then rearrange them or the order. Yeah, it's kind of up to you. I would say, yeah, if anyone's struggling with these instructions, just do that. That's the simplest. Literally just search for 9 images using any search terms you want. I will not tell you search terms. I will not suggest anything because I don't want to front load it. I want you to just search for literally anything. Find 9 images you like, save them to your phone, screenshot it. That would be the easiest. But if you want to get a little more, if you want to put them into a Word doc or into PowerPoint or Photoshop or any tool at all that allows you to arrange them, go for it. That's fine as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, and the instructions are in
More
that. Oh,
question?
yes, Dario?
Yeah, I was going to ask as a tool either to rearrange them or arrange them or to find images. What are your thoughts about AI?
Yeah, you can use that if you want.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, yeah, we've seen some AI. I mean, that yeah, I think because you're doing a prompt or even if somebody else used AI, yeah, I would say there's no restriction there at all. I think any image is fair game. I mean, I don't have a ton of experience with the AI, but I think if you're drawn to it, it says something about you. And so if you see that image and you really like it, and also if you've prompted it, I mean, that's even more intentionality, but it was not required, of course. It could be somebody else made a prompt and you just like the image. So yeah, that's a really good question. I haven't really thought about it. It would be interesting, like, to try to analyze. Like, I wonder if we will see something different there, because in a way, like, the sky is even more the limit with AI, because you can create totally impossible scenes and stuff. But yeah, I would say go for it. Any image,
Yeah,
any
if
image
the
you're drawn
image
to.
that comes out, if you're drawn to the image, like then even more, then of course you can use it. So it's more like if you're drawn to that aesthetic or what it's saying, like what the image evokes.
Yeah, I'll say personally, because I'm going to make a collage here in a minute. What I really like is just scanning through tons and tons and tons of images. This is just me personally. And after, like, I pick like 1 out of every 100 images. I'm just like, no, 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 no. Ooh, that one. So personally, I like that. I think other people maybe have a different way
Yeah,
of
there's
like,
different people picking different
yeah, or maybe
ways,
like,
but-
and I could imagine if you're doing AI, like, you might not have the options of hundreds and hundreds of images to choose from. For me, that might not work. For you, it might work great. So everyone has a different way of selecting the images, and I don't want, my way to be. I love the freedom of like scrolling. Like, I love to find like an image from the 12th page of search results or something personally, just because I like the options of having a lot of images to choose from. But I think AI would be totally fine as well. So, okay, so it is half an hour after the hour. We will return right at the top of the hour. So we have 30 minutes. I'll just leave this Zoom going. The chat is open. If anybody has other questions, they can put them in chat. And that way, if we're away from the computer and come back, we'll kind of see them in chat. And we will resume in 30 minutes, now 29 minutes. So thank you all for being here. And I'm going to add my email to the chat. You can email your images to me there. So
I
great.
was also thinking, can you also just send them in the chat as you go?
Oh,
because
yeah.
they're not anonymous this time.
Sure, or you can send them in chat. So either way, you can drag it. Maybe that's even easier. Good point. You can just drag them into the Zoom chat when you're, but the only, yeah, I guess it's fine. I don't want anyone to be intimidated, but I think it's fine.
Well, maybe we send them as we go, like who
Yeah.
wants to go first, and
Sure, yeah.
so we don't, But
Yeah,
we
we don't have to
already
worry
showed
about
so
it.
many
It's
pictures.
totally fine. I don't think it'll be a problem. So, okay, I'll
Okay.
see you guys soon. Oh, hey, Shango, I see you're there. Yes, we have recorded it. And Rachel, there is no prompt.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier, and we decided no prompt is better for the first one. That way it's just blank slate, anything.
Yeah, whatever you're drawn to.
Tabula rasa. Yeah. So, great. Okay, we'll be back in 28 minutes. I hope everyone had fun making collages. We noticed that the Pinterest app was down. I checked on Down Detector, and they had 4,102 reports of the app having problems. So I hope you guys are okay, even with the problem. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of go through in the order received, unless anyone has to jump off. So if anyone has to, on a tight time constraint, let me know, and we will look at yours first.
I have a little bit But Jenna really wants me to be working on other things, but I'm totally fascinated by
Well, we
what's
can look at
happening.
yours
And
first, Lucita.
I
Did you
didn't
you
I
didn't make?
didn't
Oh,
make a collage. I just sent you 8 images in an email.
oh, let me find that then, and let's look at that now, in case you do have to drop off. And oh, I see it. Yeah, some of the images. Okay. Let me.
Oh.
These are great. Okay, let me just. How can I do these? I'll just download them all and see if I can open them in a folder, and then that way. Okay, this should work. As a gallery, no, I'll make them as icons. Okay, yeah, we can just do it this way. This is fun. This is great. Let me just make them a little bit larger, and I will share. This is kind of a fun way of doing a collage. I've never tried it this way, but ad hoc collage. Okay, so I see you picked my mom's artwork. Lovely. I love her painting there. Genoa and a little baby. Very nice. Color theory image. I see hollyhocks, very Santa Fe, and roses, pink roses, and a beautiful blue flower here, a color wheel, and a map of
East Europe?
yeah, Eastern Europe. Not yeah, okay. Well, I mean, from these images, I would immediately jump to community because of Genoa and the baby, and also my mom's painting here that has a lot of people in them. Community feels very like like the different people, the different age groups, different backgrounds. It also feels very existential. Something we see with a lot of existential collages is kind of a survey of things in existence. Would you say existential? I mean, the map, the fact there's I guess mapping can be unknown. I mean, we love maps and we're unknown. And sometimes you see map symbolism in unknown. I mean, look at the map right here. So you will sometimes see map symbolism in unknown collages. But because of the other things, I'm kind of getting more existential. So existential community.
Yeah, I get some distinguishing, all the different things. It's a bit hard to see how they connect together.
And color theory and color wheel both feel very distinguishing as well. Like you will often find like diagrams in an existential instinct person's collage. So they'll actually have like a collage with a diagram with like collages in the diagram, or like weird like kind of like perspectives. Like there's one from one of our class members. So it was really interesting. It was for Cosmos, and we think he's existential. And for his, I'm talking about Feliciano's, he had a number of different perspectives of the cosmos, and then he had one image within that was itself a bunch of different perspectives of the cosmos.
A collage
So it's,
within a collage.
yeah, so it's like you see that with existential sometimes, where it's sort of like different perspectives of life. It feels immersive leaning because there is this fragmentary kind of like close-up of the flower and close-up and then just like different, I don't know, I mean, immersive leaning, but maybe security because of natural beauty. So I would almost say existence catalog. Existence catalog is the nickname. It could be security, community, and then existential.
Right.
In that order, which
Lots of
is,
distinguishing. Yeah.
or it could be interpersonal first. You could be community first. I mean, also knowing you as a person, Lucita, you're like so heart-centered and people connected, and the people in your life, I mean, our connection and the friends and family in your life is such a huge part of your life that it wouldn't surprise me if you are community first. And the fact that you've kind of, like, these are, some of the images anyway have something with sentimental value to them. But if it's community first and immersive leaning, that would be IPS then. So community, and then existential, and then security last. That could be. Do you have a sense of that, or?
Yeah.
Is it significant that in terms of the Enneagram, it's the triangle?
It's the triangle, yeah. Which is interesting because in Enneagram, the triangle is sort of, they're called the attachment types, and they're sort of trying to adapt to other people. But in this system, it's triple distinguishing. So it's actually all about differentiating, like what you particularly like and don't like, and what makes you different from other people, and what, you bring that other people don't have. And so it's like community is like distinguishing all about yourself versus others and what your role is versus their role, and understanding in detail, talking a lot about people and relationships and what you bring to the relationship and what they bring. And so all of this distinguishing. Existential is sort of very almost scientifically distinguishing all the different approaches and purposes. And then security is distinguishing sort of what you like and what's your favorite this and favorite that and what you're into, and sort of all the particulars. It's very particular, triple distinguishing. So it would be like what's specific about your heaven. Like if we think about each of these as a heaven, the distinguishing heaven is all about distinguishing what makes your heaven different from other people's heaven, basically. How yours would be not at all like theirs. Whereas the immersive heavens, for instance, might be the kind of the same, or the memorializing heavens might not be as like. So anyway, that's one approach. It's hard to say from just a single group, but yeah, I don't know how. Do you have any sense? Did you have any resonance with some of them?
Well, it was very difficult to do it in the time, because first of all, Pinterest wouldn't allow me in at first.
That's what
So I was working on Instagram, and then at the last minute, basically almost as soon as you were opening it up again, Pinterest allowed me in. And so I was grabbing things incredibly fast. And the photo of Genoa with the baby was on my computer, but not taken by me. And your mother's art was on my computer. So I was trying to I found 8 images, not 9 in the time.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I'm so glad you did. And I think we can see something from this. I mean, it's and obviously any other collages you make, we'd be happy to look at, and you can always send us as you make them. And if you get inspired and make a few, just, send them our way. But yeah, I would say tentatively either SIP or IPS, maybe IPS, community, existential, security, triple distinguishing, which Rob nicknames existence catalog. And that's one that's very interested in the things of existence and sort of feeling alive through seeing the world in detail, seeing the different groups of people. And I mean, just knowing you personally, I know that you're very tapped into the goings on politically and in the world abroad and geographically and different groups of people and how they interact with each other. And like, that is a big part, and you're very caring. And I think the interpersonal first is very kind of connected to the people in your life and feeling alive through those connections. So that may fit for you, but yeah.
He knows a lot about a lot.
Knowing a lot about a lot. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for sending those. That was really, I loved those, and those images. And yeah, if anyone has to run, let me know so I can do yours first. I was going to do Karen. I was going to do yours next. So I see your hand is up. Is that what you were saying? Okay, great. Because that was the next one I had on here anyway. So okay, perfect. So looking at Karen, and let's see what we have here. I'll share this. Just get it open from my downloads. And very, very cool image. I will share this so everyone can see. A lot of magical light in this one. Yeah, I've been starting to kind of develop an aesthetic vocabulary through seeing so many of these, and like starting to just attune to different things, like these like magical light and just the magic of the light here. And I mean, there's a lot of magical light, like the rays from the sun here. Here's like a magical light from above. Like when I see that, I have historically gone for unknown, but I also sometimes see it with self-significance, so it's hard to know. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's maybe just purpose itself kind of appears as the imbuing of magic in the world, but it does feel like unknown is more magical than the others. Like existential can almost be deflationary. Like we have an existential friend who will be showing like dishes, like the dishes in the in the sink, like doing the dishes, like very existential, like very like sort of like this is life, and this is not doing the dishes in the sink. This is very magical and full of wonder and full of magic. I would definitely also immediately jump to security, just because of like the beauty, the natural beauty. Personally, I don't know if you see that as
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I could see that security and like the specific food maybe and
I mean, I guess you could argue, you could make an argument for one of the other self-survival instincts. I just jump to security when I see natural beauty, because to
yeah.
me there's something, even like seeing different times of day, like here's like a sunrise or a sunset, and here is kind of midday, and then here it looks like a sunset, and just these different times of day and different sort of locales. I always go to security, because one of the themes we find with security is like this appreciation of the natural beauty of the cycles of the seasons. There could be an argument for self-management. I mean, there is. This is like a very perfect food, and this is sort of a perfect self-management kind of form, like what you would choose. And I
But
don't
I
know
kind of
though.
feel that yin quality also, like, yeah, you,
That's a good point.
how
Security is
it's
yin.
affecting you with this pleasant
Yeah, I could
pleasant things.
almost think. I could almost go triple yin here. I don't know. Were there
Yeah,
some? I mean, so triple yin would be security, alchemy, unknown. The alchemy is hard for me to know, other than I've seen for some reason a lot of silhouettes with alchemy, and we see silhouettes again and again and again here. And I've also seen being in the mix, and a lot of times like it would be like somebody dancing in the middle. There's not a lot of movement here that I would see with alchemy, but if the middle picture was like a silhouette of a person dancing, I would totally be saying alchemy, and it could still be alchemy. Now, do you have a sense, Karen? Is there one that really fit for you of the interpersonal, like the alchemy, being in the mix and the exchange, the community, sort of the range of people, and the bonding is the remoteness and sort of the yeah.
I definitely between alchemy and community. I tend to
Okay.
lean, when I saw that picture, I thought first of community
Yeah, this
coming
feels like community to me. But then I
in.
did wonder about alchemy, because this feels like alchemy. This
yeah,
feels like the sparkly, and this also. So one thing I see again and again in alchemy people's collages is like dancing, silhouette of a person dancing, or even like splaying out and making body moves, because alchemy is right next to self management. So there can be this sort of like moving, dancing.
yeah. How the chemistry is moving in you. Yeah,
I kind of
that's right.
wonder if you're triple yin. Triple yin would be, I'm not sure the order. Maybe security
Yeah,
first, but it would be security, alchemy, unknown.
yeah.
What do
That
you think
would
about
be.
that for this?
Yeah, yeah. I see a lot of yin in it, so that could totally work, I think. Um, yeah.
Yeah, this
Not
doesn't
the
feel
unknown,
like
but yeah.
forceful, directive yang
Mm,
energy at all. Like this is,
mm.
I get unknown from the magic here and the sort of magical light.
Yeah, the special landscape.
Yeah, and like this magical landscape, like this is
Mm.
really like mysterious. And even this feels unknown to me. This is
Yeah.
like a mystery of like what does this mean, and the
Mm.
ancient mysteries and the connection to the mysteries. And then I don't think community, because community, I expect to see more distinguishing of who the people actually are. The fact that
Yeah.
there's silhouettes is a little different.
Yeah.
With community, I would see like the faces
Mm-hmm.
of, here's a person experiencing homelessness on the street, and here's an old man, and here's a young baby, and here are, I don't know, like you're seeing like this whole range of like the distinguishing of all the different people a lot of times, and
Yeah, I
even
think
messages about people.
there's something yin about the energies, like the lighting and all this, the energy aspects.
So if you are triple yin, the nickname for that one is dance monkey, and it needs a little bit of explanation, because you wouldn't be the monkey dancing. It's actually quote dance monkey end quote. Like you're saying that to others. Here, I'll write it in the chat so you can see. Um, and yeah, and it used to be called Night Drive.
Right.
That was the original name Rob came up with, and then he changed it to Dance Monkey. And so it's basically telling other people to dance,
Right.
dance for me, because the yin is sort of like fill me up. Like I'm not going to direct, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But what we found with the Dance Monkey, with this triple yin, we have a couple examples, at least two good ones, is that they're very good at getting people to open up. And it really is a skill. It's not that because it's yin, it's passive. I mean, that's maybe one aspect of yin, but it's not really passive. It's like it's like breaking the ice, like really good icebreakers. So if you're a triple yin, then you'd be really good at breaking the ice with people because you're really good. You'd be really good at getting them to sort of open up a little bit so they can loosen up, so they can share and talk because they're exchanging. The alchemy wants to exchange a little bit, and the unknown is sort of excited to just take in what the world has to offer. And security has this really comfy, cozy, like kind of like create a nice space free from distractions where people can kind of really open up and feel comfortable, like protected from the outside elements a little bit.
Yeah, so for the night drive, it kind of works better, I think, because then you get the night feeling of like driving into the unknown and what could happen here in the night and what's over there. And you're driving in this security, that the car, and you're driving with some other people. So you have this enjoyable exchange of the alchemy in the car, but also like seeing out there where you can go and so.
Yeah, I think Night Drive really fits as a name. I have a couple stories about Dance Monkey. I do want to keep it brief because I know we've been on for a while and I want to make sure we look at everybody's, but just a couple. Well, so we have, Grace of Dance Monkey, George, and then also our friend Brigitte. So I have like 3 people that have Dance Monkey as their configuration, maybe in different orders, but I guess I could just tell George's story. I've told this one before, but basically our friend George is a playwright in New York, and it's always a real treat hanging out with him. He was actually at HDHD, I guess it was 2 years ago, but when we go out with him in New York, it's so much fun. And I've had this experience before every time I've been around with him because he's so disarming with other people, and other aspects of his personality type, like he's very like extroverted and stuff, play a role here, but he's really good at getting people to open up what they're into. And he's born and raised in New York, so he just has that New York thing. So we would be in Washington Square and walking by a couple police officers, and he'll just say, "Hey, what should my friends do?" And they're just kind of like, they don't know what to say. And so he'll just repeat it, and they'll still not say anything. And then he'll just sit there and look at them, and he's just a really nice guy. And then finally they'll still, "Oh, you could go to Times Square, or you could go walk over to," like they'll start to offer him like suggestions, and it'll work. And then we were at the Whitney, same thing. He just starts talking to a security guard, and he's like, "What do you do?" And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm a security guard." He's like, "Yeah, but what do you do?" And then the guy's like, "Well, no, I'm a security guard. I work here. This is my job." He's like, we came back 5 minutes later. He'd been talking to this guy, or this guy had been talking, and he's like, he's in school. He's in a play right now. Like he's like doing. He's able to sort of get people to loosen up and let down their guard and like dance for him in a really interesting way by not directing the conversation at all. But it still is like work. Like it's still a skill. It's a skill to get people to open up that way. So I don't know if you relate to that or if that fits for you, but that's.
It's funny because when you first said it, I'm notorious for getting everybody on the dance floor. I was a dancer all the way through school,
get them
so
dancing.
literally I am notorious for like going out, and I don't care if nobody else is dancing, I'm dancing. And people
That's
will literally
alchemy.
follow
That is
me onto the
alchemy right
dance
there.
floor.
Yeah.
We've had my husband's the same way, funny enough. And like we literally will go out and people will say, "You guys brought everybody on the dance floor, nobody was moving." And
I thought that he was. I think he's Fortitude also. He could be like Fortitude Alchemy Unknown or something.
My husband?
We weren't we? No.
No, I don't think you did, my husband.
Okay. I thought it was okay. Well, anyway, okay, maybe not. But okay, but that would be an interesting. You'll have to type him. You'll have to type him and.
I'll type him. Yeah, no, that's very. Yeah. I thought it was community at first, but when you're saying alchemy, it makes actually more sense to me.
And definitely being on the dance floor, being in the mix, being in the middle of things, stuff like that. Yeah. No, okay. Well, we can continue on, but thank you so much for sharing this one. I really like your collage, and yeah, you'll have to type him and report back, and we'll see what you come up with. So that was very, very cool though to see that one. Yeah, and if you have to drop off, if anyone has to go, no worries at all, of course. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for joining. So, Merritt, I'm going to look at yours next. I'm downloading it here and excited to. Yeah, no, I think I did. Well, yeah, I'll talk to Karen about it later. They were at HDHD, and I did type her husband Fortitude Alchemy Unknown, so that does kind of fit. That kind of makes sense. Because we were doing this at the conference last year. So, okay. Oh, this one's very cool. I'm going to share the screen. And I'm going to let you start on this one because I've been talking a lot. And of course, if anyone else on the call wants to comment as well, I should have said that earlier. Please hop on mic, hop on chat. I love to hear other people's comments and what they see as well.
Yeah, so many cool pictures, all different interesting things that is happening. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe unknown because there's so many interesting, like what is happening here, and all these different patterns, like up there, what, like a mystical.
Yeah, this top right, I'm trying to grab it with the mouse. I don't know if it's going to let me. Okay, it's not letting me grab it, unfortunately. Here, I'm going to open it in preview so we can actually indicate what we're looking at here. There we go. Sorry, I'll reshare. Yeah, I definitely see unknown as well. Just the magical, mysterious stuff going on, like.
And the clouds and the people in the dresses and the.
Yeah, this is an awesome image. I mean, these are the kind of images I would choose also. And then what do you make of the cats? What is this for you?
Yeah, I'm thinking about all the different images of interpersonal and people. I feel like maybe community because there's such a range.
Yeah, definitely when I see different cultural backgrounds and different age groups and different times, like this is a historical picture, I do go to community. I do, for sure, for that.
Yeah. And
That's kind of where I
maybe
immediately.
security, like I could kind of see the kittens as a bit of a security element. And there is a lot of nature and maybe also the healing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
this
get
feels
some
unknown.
yin.
This feels unknown. Yeah, the healing feels very yin for sure, and very like attuned and kind of sensitive. I get security.
Some nature
Yeah.
elements here.
Yeah, I get the security. So, what order though? What order do you think this is? I mean, is this unknown first? Because I mean, this is a pretty strong unknown image. This is very mysterious and has something interesting going on. There is a sort of like needing to unpack what we're seeing that I sort
could
of.
be a PSI again.
Yeah, like I often will for purpose first, I do sort of get the like densely packed with meaning that has to be unpacked. And this feels kind of densely packed, like harder for me to immediately grok what these images have to do with each other. I mean, it's not always the case because like Lasitas seemed sort of needing to unpack as well, and I did not think that was purpose first. But there was also some commonality, like multiple flowers, and I don't know.
Yeah,
This could be purpose first. This could be PIS. This could be interpersonal second. There's quite a bit of interpersonal here, and I do see a lot of animals in community stuff as well. Like when I look at like our friend Brandy, who's community first, she will have like a rabbit and dogs and cats and squirrels and then a whole bunch of different people like in her collages. Like she will include the animal community in her community. I mean, is there any chance it's not community? Is there something else going on? Is there bonding or alchemy? I guess I don't totally see that. I mean, just the difference, the fact that it's such different people, like that these people are in the same.
Yeah, even though there's a lot of picture with two people or two cats, I don't really see them bonding. It's
not as remote as bonding.
Yeah,
Bonding a lot of times is
remote
wistful,
or
yearning, and
or
tormented.
pointing at the bond or like staring into
Yeah,
each other's
it can be like
eyes,
this
or hand
pained.
holding or
It can be painful. A lot of times bonding can be very painful. What about self-significance though, instead of unknown? Are you sure it's unknown? I mean, there is some interesting like mystery of what is the unknown here. Like this does feel kind of unknown, but I guess this feels very unknown too. Yeah, like there's like mystical information
the
here.
clouds.
This feels unknown. Okay, it's probably unknown. I the only thing that made me wonder self-significance is like really the black and white picture of like what is this personal significance. Maybe would you share a little bit, Merritt, of which instincts you felt connected to?
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Oh,
I'm gonna get on the. Oh, okay. We have two computers in one room. Yeah, I thought it was more self-significance. Like but that's my conscious mind trying to make it. So I actually could relate with the unknown.
Well, is this
Um,
an especially significant picture for you, this black and white picture? Do you know these people? Like, is it your family or something, or is it just a, kind of a picture that has
no, it was just
no
a
connection?
Canva picture, but
Okay.
I was using that Canva picture. I make a lot of collages, so I love collaging. So I just took the Canva pictures that I had, stock photos for other collages that I'd made, and I had done an ancestry. I was trying to do like an ancestry workshop. So you'd mentioned the thing about ancestry and self-significance, and I only found stock. I wasn't people from my family, but I um, love those kind of
It
things.
could be
So
so. Well, so the two
Yeah.
possibilities are if you're
yeah.
self-significance and if
Mm-hmm.
you are PIS, which is
Yeah. Yeah.
interpersonal second, then that is
Hmm.
unknown leaning. And
Yeah.
that could actually fit better because the one reason I was asking Lena if maybe it's not unknown first is that with unknown first, I often see like over the top magic imagery. And nothing here is too magical. Like it's a little bit, like I guess this is kind of magical, but I don't see like the magical light bathing everything in an ethereal glow. I mean, sometimes I see that with self-significance
Right.
too.
Right.
So it's not
Hmm.
maybe the fact that you make a bunch of collages already, maybe I can just look at more of your collages. And after
Mm-hmm.
this, if you want to just send me some, or even if we stay if you happen to be on later once we've looked at other collages, I'd be happy to look at them and maybe we can
Hmm.
drill down because you could be self-significance. Now the other thing is, do you think purpose first, or do you have a sense of which one of them would be dominant for you? Purpose, interpersonal, or self-survival?
Um, yeah, I'm thinking of this collage that I have behind me here, but this exercise, I'm noticing the interpersonal. And I was surprised you said community, but actually I like that noticed that because I do have that background of the community, like roles, like seeing who is in what role. Like, yeah, so that,
Well, the whole workshop that we
yeah,
took part in, that you and Cullen put on,
exactly.
was
Yeah.
such a community. It was like building
Mm-hmm.
a community. For those who don't know, Merritt
Hmm.
and Cullen do. Maybe you can even talk about it. Social presencing theater, and well, I don't. It's a very to me, it's a very community interest, like community practice of like doing like
Hmm.
theater, but more than theater, it's embodying different roles within a community and building a community, and you're given different ways of interacting, and really fascinating. I mean, we loved that. That was like a highlight of the whole conference.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, I would definitely want to see more of yours, and for now, I would
Yes, we can
guess
go to mine next since we're the same.
Oh, okay. Would it be Colin's asking if he can go because we might
absolutely,
need to drop off. It's kind
absolutely, I
of
would love to. And
okay.
so, just
Thank
let's
you.
give some, maybe talk about what the nicknames would be for this. If
No, I
self
see.
significance, so if you're self significance, and then what would the other community
Community and
and
security.
security?
That
What's that
would
one?
be center of the universe.
So that one's nicknamed Center of the Universe, and then unknown community security
That would be tweaked out architect.
is called Tweaked Out Architect. So I just posted
I feel like
those.
that's more him. Yeah, okay.
I just posted
We'll talk
those.
about it.
Yeah, and we can look at more collages of yours as well. But I just posted those in the. But I think self significance could fit because I was only thinking unknown
He's
because of
saying
sort of the
one of the
mystery.
others. Could be one of those two.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me look at. Okay, let me now pull up Collins. And I see yours right here. Oh, this is. I'm already really liking this one and the use of space. Very, very nice. And I'm excited to look at both of more of your collage, at more of both of your collages rather. So please feel free to send at any point, and we'll take a look at
Okay.
them and comment. And I'm going to zoom in on this one so that people can see. But I love the use of space.
Yeah,
Hmm.
wow.
Really, just this is just so cool. I mean, immediately off the bat, when I see a lot of space like that, I usually go for existential. But then I'm
Hmm.
seeing like the hands and the forms make me think self-management and like something about I mean, yeah, I don't know, it's hard to say, self-management existential community, something like that. Yeah, we'll have to see. Do you have any thoughts on this, Lena?
It's just so interesting. Yeah, lots of distinguishing
Lots of
Yeah.
distinguishing. Yeah.
Existential, yeah, it feels very, very
Very existential
existential.
with yeah, we have
Yeah.
like statues and like
Yeah.
gardening and then like this
Hmm.
affogato. We
Yeah.
love affogato.
Root beer float, yeah.
I guess it doesn't. No, this feels very self-management to me.
Mm.
This feels self-management, and like the fact, even it's like the forms of the hands, and even the form of the whole thing. I'm gonna say this feels purposey. It feels probably existential first. It feels like placed with intentionality and deliberate, like specific positions. Like these are placed this way with a lot of intentionality that I see with purpose and the sort of inscrutability of purpose. So it feels existential first, and then self management, and then maybe community because of just the
Right.
hands and like
So
the
lots of
person and
different people.
dog.
I was
Yeah.
also just wondering, like, if it could be a bonding because of the bonding with the dog and the romantic statue.
Okay,
Sort of a
the
bond,
statue
but
feels bonding. Yeah, the statue does more than the dog to me because one thing
right.
about bonding is that bonding can feel very cold and remote. But the statue can also just be self-management because this is just like
Right.
beautiful forms. Like this is like very like
Yeah.
the body is like held with a lot of intentionality of like angular like you see like so Lena's self-management, we think Dario's self-management. You can start to look at people that maybe you assess as self-management or you can kind of find who's been assessed self-management and you can see a statuesque quality that they often have a very statue way of kind of statuesque way of being. And also, just from knowing you, Colin, and from going to your workshop, you definitely have the self-management forms of like moving. Like I don't know if you've seen Cabaret, but the impresario of Cabaret is very self-management, like standing with this like you could take like a thread from the top of the head to like very good posture and like angular forms and angular hand gestures and arm gestures, and we actually see that here, where. I mean, this one I guess is a little maybe more security, but I don't know. I see like this for sure feels self-management. Like this just feels very strongly making a form almost the way like a bird, like a flamingo would like make a gesture, or you know what I mean? Like there's a kind of there's straight lines of the human body and like the perfection of form of the human body thing. So I'm gonna call it. I think this feels to me like existential self-management community.
Yeah. And
What is
that
that nickname?
would be a fitting nickname, I think.
That one as well, except for the first part. Some of the nicknames, I don't know why exactly he calls it that. He calls it NPC Theater Kid. I think it's just, I think Theater Kid is the real thing. You're definitely not an NPC. NPC is just like Rob being snarky. But but that's, let's see. So I'll write that into the chat. Existential self-management and community is nicknamed NPC Theater Kid. Yeah, that's the nickname for it. I mean, it's kind of, these are just Rob's cute nicknames for them. I think this, yeah, I think existential, I'm not really seeing anything that would make me think unknown or self-significance too much. This feels very existential to me, like the, quote, randomness, but also like the diversity of what exists. I mean, this kind of, if I saw a bunch of images like this, I would say security, but I really don't think security because of just like this image is super self-management. Just the whole composition is so self-management. Like the way the composition itself is laid out with this, yeah.
But also just very existential.
That too, and maybe existential first, yeah. Because what we noticed, like with existential, we see a lot of white space. It's like almost like the person has collected the butterflies and put all the pins in the butterflies, and like they're like, here's my catalog of things I've collected. Like we see that like that style of collage a lot with
But it's
existential.
also symmetrical, like self-management.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that it's very perfectly centered and aligned, and like like the same white space between each one, like very deliberate in that way. So, yep, that's what I think for this one. Would love to see more of your collages, and
Thank you.
but yeah, did you have any in particular that seemed like they fit more than others? I mean, as we were going through them, were some of them like jumping out at you?
Well, it's not a surprise that it comes if the first one in the stack is self-management because my Enneagram is 1.
Oh,
it's
okay.
so
Yeah, which and I have one in my trifix. I'm not a one, but I do have one, so
okay.
there's I relate to that. I did think you're probably self-management second, though. I still think existential might be more than self-management, personally.
I have to study that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because of the stack. But
Yeah, very, very, very cool. Yeah, like the only in the thing in the last one, I have to think about it, feel more about it. It felt to me more like a conducting quality, the conductor, the
Mm.
orchestration,
mm,
and
okay.
maybe yeah. So I have to study it a little more deeply. Is that
No, I love
community
those
is
terms
more
though. Conductor and orchestrator. That's really a cool way to think about.
Yeah, that's
Um,
one of the ways you can say yang with a different word is,
mhm,
what is it? Direct.
Yeah, directing is what
director.
Rob calls it.
Yeah.
So if you are existential first, you would be conducting, orchestrating, directing, which is always funny for me to see existential as yang because when I first started tracking it, it didn't really seem directing, but it is. It's directing people back to sort of a view of. It's almost like directing people back to like a scientific God's eye view from above or something like directing them back to not having their own particular subjective bias, but seeing the bigger picture of how
Yeah, also
other
just
other people
directing
can
like
see.
what's the different purposes is like
Yeah.
talking and naming it and
Well, definitely
grouping and
having existential and community together, since those are both so similar, also would be like a really interesting way of being able to really distinguish a lot, like what different people's roles are and understanding. You know what I'm realizing is that this is actually the same three that I came up with for Ra Uru Hu. So the founder of human design, I actually came up with these same three because he seems like he was so preoccupied with
Mhm.
understanding different people's roles and purposes and how they work together and what can you adjust to create different visions. I also we won't have time to go into it today, but if you ever wanted to go into attitudinal psyche, there's four of the attitudinal psyche types are really utopian and they have to do with envisioning alternative realities, and I think one of those four might fit for you as well. So because just knowing you as a person and like the two of you having put on this really cool workshop that was sort of conducting and orchestrating different ways of coexisting with your fellow human, like
Yeah,
which
cool.
which
Yeah,
again was a real highlight for us. Yeah. Just I'll jump on to Tracy's now, and in the interest of time, but
yeah.
please, Colin and Merritt, if you want to share anything about what you do in the chat, or even just on voice briefly, like social presencing theater, really really cool work. I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you also that's not the only thing you do as well. You also work with Bateson. Sorry, what's the other one?
Yeah, Nora Bateson's work in
Yeah, Nora
warm
Bateson.
data. Yeah,
Yeah, warm data. I'm going to add that there as well. Which
thank you. Yeah. Well, the only thing I really want to say, it is such a opportunity, and it come up in as a result of you giving us these types, and it really like this aliveness that I felt in you when explaining one of them that you'll be able to tell me because I can't point my finger to it right now, but it was the best thing in the world for me in that workshop that I still hold on to was the moment that you as a generator, you gave a you kind of got me. It was
ah,
like, and that was like everything for me. I don't know.
oh,
It was this moment I was talking about because I don't know HD, but I know enough about it being with Merit for, around the study and I can, but being in this world where everyone speaks so eloquently as if it were a second language, I
mm,
was adapting in the moment, like how
mm,
this could be said in HD, whatever we were doing. So it was really alive for me. But then when you like you did this, and it was like it was something about how this could be created into a penta and then go forth as a wa, how we could create a conscious wa. And I was like, yeah, wow, okay. And I that was like I met, like a very preliminary understanding of, HD at that
We,
moment.
we met going different directions. That was my announcement of me leaving HD. You've replaced me.
Yeah.
No, but seriously though,
Wow.
the workshop that we attended from both of you though, I mean, I'm so glad to hear that from you. That was our highlight of like the whole event. I mean, that was such an amazing workship. So
Thank you. Wow.
yeah, it really was. And it was like the only one we really got to actually just spend considerable amount of time. I loved like it just kept going and like into different areas and taking some really interesting stuff. So I've thought a lot about that. That really stuck with me.
you.
I think it did for you.
We had a really cool riff after the call with Brandy, and like we were talking about how we should make this or propose this as the kickoff, like an all hands kickoff kind of
Yes.
thing, or either do it as a midway thing where everybody meets everybody. So
Oh, I love that. That's
see.
yeah. Well, that sounds wonderful. That sounds really, really cool. Well, thank you both for joining. And thank you. And if you have to drop off, I totally understand. We're going to look at Tracy's, and this will be the last one. And but yeah, really good to see both of you. And we plan to be there in September, so hope to see you there for the kickoff. That sounds great. So,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Tracy, this is what we have for you. I'm going to make sure. Oh, did I? Okay. I love this one already with the magical text, this feels...
Yeah.
That's my.
Sorry, it dropped out. What was the thing you said?
I said that's actually my light language around.
Can you say it one more time? I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on with my speaker.
Yeah, I just said that is my actual light language.
Oh,
that I wrote around the flower of life. I just had it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love the it's like really magical language.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this feels very yin as well. It feels very unknown magic. This is what I mentioned asemic writing earlier, which is a fancy way of saying like light languages and angelic languages, angelic scripts, magic text. I mean, feels very unknown. Mystery.
Alice in Wonderland with the rabbits looking down the hall.
Oh, I love that.
Like Alice in Wonderland is like unknown and security is them, those coming together.
Yeah, unknown. I could see security also, and then I was thinking community, but I don't 100% know.
I'm kind of getting alchemy.
You think alchemy? Yeah, there's a kind of a flow.
Unknown.
There's a lot of movement. With alchemy, we
Yeah.
see movement, and like the fact that this is like showing the stages of movement, and even just the fact the whole thing feels kind of swirling around a central figure, which itself is a little bit swirling and growing.
Yeah.
So this could very well be, I would say either... Yeah, I would say either security alchemy unknown or security community unknown. But maybe security alchemy unknown. It could very well be. I mean, there is movement. There is in this like joyful movement. It does feel very yin. I mean, every one of these images feels very inviting and I don't know how to describe it. Just sort of.
Yeah. So either dance monkey or tweaked out architect. Then.
Yeah, Dance Monkey is triple yin, and then Tweaked Out Architect is with Community instead. But I guess not Community, because really the only reason was because there was a kid there, and sometimes I see like... Yeah, no, this doesn't. I guess this doesn't. I mean, this image does jump out as like the kind of image you would choose or something.
She is actually... I couldn't get the, I didn't have enough time to get the play button off of there.
Oh, that's okay.
She is an image that I created in AI where all of my light language is coming off of her as she lifts up her arms and like all this kind of honey is dripping off of her, and off the honey dripping off is the light language.
Oh, that's beautiful. I definitely think that's unknown. I mean, that feels like unknown to me because there's something we see again and again with unknown of like the magic like entering into reality through like spiritual light and spiritual text and floating text, and you know this I think triple yin. That's what I think for this. I think this is Dance Monkey again. It seems like it fits. I guess maybe, which order do you think this is in?
I get a lot of purpose, so I would say purpose first and probably interpersonal last. So
Okay.
PSI again, maybe?
So, but wait a minute, but I do think Karen's, this would be an interesting comparison then. Karen's, I don't think was purpose first.
Okay, let's see this one
Or
again.
I don't remember if that's what we said, but I just was thinking, I'm just going to now compare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a really interesting comparison. So it could very well be that yours and Karen's are the same three instincts. I'm now going to go over and share Karen's again. But that hers could be, for instance, security first. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that. I guess this has a fair amount of the unknown, but I guess what I always sort of what I think about for purpose first is that it's often harder to parse, and I can parse this easily, even though it has unknown symbols in it. Like with Dario's, I had a hard time parsing it. It was like so intensely like full of like imagery. And with Lena's, I have a hard time parsing it because there's so much going on. And so this, I think, feels a little bit, to me, easier to parse. But there is a similarity. There's like a floating person in silhouette with magical light coming through. There's magical light bursting forth from the silhouetted people. There's like beautiful nature. There's mysterious sort of connection to the mysteries. So it has a lot of these themes, but I just...
Also the shot with the trees up through the trees.
Yeah, there's a shot up through the trees that is like this sort of interesting perspective. And then
Similar with the
comparing,
other picture.
yeah, and then kind of comparing, this could be the same three instincts. Like, yeah, this is like the shot up through the trees. This is like the magical light coming through the window. This is like a floating silhouette of a magical person. I mean, even similar color theme. But I do think this could be a different order, and that this could be more purpose first because of just how seemingly packed it is. I mean, I would need to see more. I would need to see more because sometimes purpose just shines through no matter what. Like it could be, and I don't know if you have a sense, Tracy, of which one you felt like is the strongest for you.
So because I just have never seen any of this information and I study things long and for a long time and in depth, and this is just like my first shot at this.
Sure.
I'm not quite sure. Yeah, so
Okay, that's completely fair. That is completely fair. I'm not trying to put you on the spot at all for any of it. I would say if I had to guess, this would be Dance Monkey, Triple Again, and probably Unknown Security, Alchemy.
Yeah, that's
Is
what
that
I
what
was
that's
thinking.
what you have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. So,
own security. What's the last one?
and then Alchemy. I'll put it in the chat as well. So, Dance Monkey, and it would be Unknown. Yeah, Unknown Security Alchemy. I'm not entirely sure of the order. It might not be Unknown first because it's like tricky to. I mean, I think there's enough going on that it's kind of hard to parse, but I would need to see more of your collages and also just rely on your own self-report too. Like if you feel like the most aliveness that you get is when you're discovering some mystery, compared to the most aliveness you get with security would be when you get to have that sigh of relief of being able to sort of comfortably attune to the harmony of the environment. Or if it's alchemy, being in the mix of the exchange of different people and the different exchange happening and sort of being in the flow and being filled up by that exchange. So that's going to sort of be which one. I mean, if those are the three that I think are going to give you the hit of aliveness, but the question of which is the most is something you can reflect on. So, well, really nice work. I love this, and everyone did such great work. And thank you, Dario and Lucida, for sticking around, and thank you, Tracy, for sticking around as well and for being last. Unless anyone has any questions or comments, we can wrap up. But I really appreciate having everyone here.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Sorry, did you say something, Dario? I think I didn't catch that. Thank you,
I was
Tracy.
muted.
Yeah. Thank you. I really enjoyed the collage part and everything. So it's I wasn't planning to spend 3 hours. I have a lot on my to-do list, but
Okay.
sometimes self-care is also worthwhile.
Oh, well, I'm glad that this counts as self-care, and I hope you get a lot done. And thanks for sticking around. We really enjoyed having you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah, and if
yeah.
you talk to Rob for me, please say hello.
I will. I will. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Cheers. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Lucita.
Thank you. Bye,
Great to see you.
Rosita.
Okay. Take care. Bye.